Ho, ho, ho! Welcome back, folks, to episode 68 of A Shot of Business Central and a Beer. I'm Michael Intravartolo, joined as always by the jolliest guy on the Business Central sleigh ride, Ken Sebahar. How's it going, Ken?
It's going great, Michael, although I'm still working off the Thanksgiving leftovers. Who knew that pumpkin pie pairs so well with software updates?
Good to know, Ken. Today, we've got a gift for all of our listeners. Jim Gio from Triangle Package Machinery is joining us. Jim's here to talk about AI, Business Central, and how they're staying ahead of the curve while keeping the machinery running smoother than Santa's sleigh on Christmas Eve.
Exactly. AI in manufacturing, Business Central in action. It sounds like a stocking stuffed with innovation. And to top it off, we're sipping Schlafly Christmas Ale. A beer so festive, it's like a gingerbread man dressed in an elf suit singing jingle bells.
Oh, it's festive, all right. And honestly, it is the perfect beer for this time of the year. Because if AI is the future, then Christmas Ale is the present, literally and figuratively.
So grab your favorite holiday brew, put on that ugly Christmas sweater, and join us as we dive into Business Central, AI, and figure out if Triangle Package Machinery might just be the real MVP of tech-savvy manufacturers.
Let's unwrap episode 68. Cheers, everyone.
Cheers. And Jim, Santa's listening, so you better be nice. Rudolph, lead us on our way. All right, welcome everybody to episode 68. So today we are excited to have with us for the fifth time with our annual holiday special edition, Jim Gio, IT director / CTO / operations guru at Triangle Package Machinery in Chicago, Illinois. Triangle is a longtime Dynamics user, starting with NAV 2016, and then upgrading to on-premise Business Central 13, then migrating to Business Central on-premise 21, where they currently sit. And maybe today we'll learn about potential plans down the road to move to BC Online. From 2023. So turned into a regular holiday tradition here. Jim, welcome. Excited to have you with us.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Welcome, my friend. Merry Christmas.
Yeah, Merry Christmas.
Yep. So we've got, obviously, unless you've been living under a rock in the last year, everyone's talking about AI.
Whoa. We got to talk beer first.
So, yeah. Oh, man. I've had too much already.
Hey, skipping over what we're drinking. What is going on here?
What are we drinking? Yeah, good point. So we are drinking today a Christmas ale.
My first Christmas ale ever. I have never had a Christmas ale.
Yeah. So the brewery is Schlafly, I want to say. I'm not 100% sure if I'm saying that right.
Let's ask Jim.
Let's ask AI.
Yeah.
But it is a warming winter ale that blends spices of the season with a sweet caramel malty flavor.
Really carbonated. Am I the only one getting that? It seems.
I have not. Let me take a sip. So it's a dark beer. So what is a Christmas ale?
Dark brown, dark red.
I think Christmas ales generally are like a darker malt.
Yeah.
Darker malted beer. With
higher alcohol content.
Generally higher alcohol content. This one is 8.0 ABV. That's above my sweet spot range. But
let me interject real quick, because you had told me the other day he picked out one before this and he saw it was 8.3%.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, I'm not getting it.
And I put it back.
And he just grabbed the other one. It happens to be.
So I grabbed this one. I didn't realize this was 8. I'm like, it has a nice cute label on it. It's like a Christmas tree all decorated. I'm like, this is a cute little beer. This one can't be more than like 4 or 5%.
Right.
And then I looked at it and I saw 8%. But yeah, anyways, darker beer, higher alcohol, also with like a lot of like often spices, different spices, some of like cloves, cinnamon, nutmeg.
Yeah.
So you could have there's a different variety of mixtures, but
Jim, you've got an advanced palate for like wine, I know. Does it apply to beer? Are you able to pick out?
Certain things you can pick out.
Those
Like I'm getting
flavors.
a lot of like a woody, nutty flavor out of it. It's got like
Yeah.
a toasted, like a walnut flavor to it.
toasty,
Interesting.
right? Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I think of, like toasted.
Yeah.
Kind of has that really toasted, nutty, flavor to it.
Is it bad that I think this drink might actually be kind of good if it was warm? It's like a slice of orange in it.
Yeah, not for me, bro.
Yeah.
I'm drinking too much of that hot wine at Chris Kindle Markets, whatever that's called. I forget.
An old wine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you said, 8% alcohol, dark color, very hoppy, right? I don't know, maybe not, I guess.
No,
No,
I don't think so.
Just very carbonated.
Like a kind of like a porter,
Yeah.
right? Beer.
Low bitterness, I would
Yeah,
say.
Not very heavy on the back end.
Yeah. So just very nutty,
Yeah.
toasty.
Not bad, not bad.
Guess good for the season, right? Getting together, you have a little
I mean-
high alcohol.
I'm interested to hear if you like it at the end.
Yeah, well, we'll see. So we got like one of the nice things is, nowadays a lot of beers, craft beers, come in 4 packs of tall boys, 16-ounce cans. But we had like 3 of us here, and I'm like, wow, if I get one of these that's a 4-pack, I got to get 2 of them because I can't like only have 1 beer available for each of us for this whole thing. So that was another factor on this one. It's comes in 12-ounce bottles and as a 6-pack. So we do have 2 beers for each of us of that variety.
All right.
We do have some leftover
8%.
Warsteiners and Blue Moons
Yeah.
also available from the last month and the month before, but we do have. So we'll see if I manage to crack open a second one of these.
All right. So now that we got through the beer,
Now, yes.
now we can start talking.
So we thought, you know what? We've got an end user here, a client, a company that's running Business Central. It's a manufacturing company creating packaging machinery. And
Very
so
tech savvy company.
let's obviously running Business Central. So we're like, what should we talk about? Jim's been here, obviously, 4 times, 5th time here. So like, what can we do? Well, we really need to focus on AI. So one, how, what is Jim's personal thoughts and how does he maybe think about AI and use AI? Then we'll talk about Triangle and how, as an organization, how is Triangle leveraging AI or maybe just considering leveraging AI? And then thirdly, Business Central, which,
Kind of have to.
yeah, right. So we'll talk about Business Central and upcoming plans for that. So,
All right, Jim, we're curious. What are your thoughts on AI? Are you pro AI? Hate AI? Is it going to take over the world? Do you use it?
is it going to destroy humanity or bring humanity to unprecedented heights?
Somewhere right in the middle. So no, we actually as a company we're embracing it very heavily, and as just an end user, I absolutely love it. I mean, what it's done for my day has been tremendous, and one of the best things I can think about is here. Like right now, while I'm on this podcast, my inbox is getting full, so it's going to be nice to go back to and hit the Copilot button and have it summarize my emails and tell me what's the top things, and then when I get all of that email chain where there's about 20 emails going back and forth just to open the one and go summarize this for me. Just give me the bullet points. That's amazing to have that. At the company level, we're really embracing it. We've rolled it out to a good number of our users, done some trainings with them on it. And they're using it in very similar ways, but then also, using it with Word to help them write documents and quotes and things like that. Project charters. Another thing we're using it for, though, is Teams. we meet every morning. We have Teams meetings multiple times throughout the week. We have a morning meeting. But if someone comes late to the meeting, it's nice because now that we're using it inside of Teams and with Copilot enabled, it'll summarize the email and catch you up on it. So
Yeah.
it's also nice when we have to say, hey, what did so and so say about this in the meeting? And you can just do a quick little search. It takes you right to it. So
Real nice.
we've found a lot of uses for it. I think just trying to put some functionality to it is the hard thing, because AI, it's like, what is it? Okay,
Right.
what do you need it to be? And I think it's a very hard thing for people to conceptualize.
Yeah.
So that's I think the hardest thing right now for us.
Now your confidence though on a scale, like let's say 1 to 10, when AI summarizes your emails and summarizes the meetings, would you say you're at about like a 9 or a 10 on how accurate it is? You know, like, I mean, well, so when Copilot summarizes, these are the top emails that you need to check out or whatever. Is it missing anything?
Oh, it
Are you
does.
confident? Yeah.
It does, but it gets me further along than I would have just by sifting through it. I mean, you're going to have to go back and look at everything anyway at some point, but I think for your immediate action items, it does a good job of it. And I think it's going to get you 90% of the way there.
Yeah.
It knows that, who, I mean, it's doing a great example is it's tying into our Active Directory. So it knows our org chart, it knows our reporting structure. So it knows, hey, our CEO sent me something that's going to the top of my list,
Nice.
it's looking at that, but then it's also looking at who do I interact with a lot. So it's doing a very good job of seeing like, okay, these are the people you're interacting with a lot, but also these are people that you need to look at these emails from. So it does a good job of it. Of course, it's going to miss it, but I might miss it too.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. Right. Yeah.
What? Humans making mistakes?
yeah.
Come on.
Story of my life.
Yeah, no, that's really interesting. I mean, it sounds like you just gave like rattled off like at least like a half a dozen like scenarios where it's where you're using it. And we didn't even get into like real like tech, and none of them are like more like what I would say are technical things,
Mhm.
like in Power BI, using Copilot to help generate fields and formulas and Excel.
Well, now on the
some
business end of it, we are doing some of that. Some of my team, we have some electrical programmers that are using it to help write some applications and programs for that. We have a gentleman on our team who's our data analyst. He uses it a lot to write formulas for Power BI. Some of our finance staff is using it to look up and write formulas for Excel. So then you have that business use. And it's actually becoming part of a standard operating procedure, which is kind of interesting because, I'm mentioning my personal use of it, but now what we're getting more into is use, use Copilot to do this for you. And now that's becoming the procedure. One of the big areas that we're getting into is, with writing up project charters, standardizing on that and using Copilot to help us write those. And it's really giving a lot of standardization to the business, but also it's streamlining a lot of our processes. So that's always helpful.
Yeah.
But when it becomes part of the standard procedure, I think that's when it's a business decision.
Have you seen any negative effects to using Copilot?
I personally haven't, but I could see where there are going to be where,
Really?
Sure, when people start using it to
Relying on it too much?
Yeah, when you're responding to emails. Well, first off, we're a family business. And I don't want to use Copilot to respond to someone with it because it takes out the personal nature of it.
Yeah,
we want to have
I
that
agree with
personal
you.
interaction with people and have that, correspondence that is more of, personal nature. You don't want to have this very computerized, response to them. And so there's areas where I think that people can overuse it. I don't know that, I've seen it yet in our group, but I know I wouldn't call it an abuse, but I think that's where I think it's going to get abused is, where people are using it to do things that
Yeah.
are going to take some of the
Everything's gonna
personal
be completely
touch out of
bought, right.
things.
Yeah. No, that's interesting. Because I think, right, Copilot is actually an option in Outlook
Mhm.
to write to the email and whatnot. So yeah.
That's kind of funny. So yeah, so we looked before we started talking here. We looked at a very short video on the Business Central and Outlook Copilot agent, like a
Sales agent?
sales agent. And to your point, like you're like, well, we're, we like that personal touch when we send an email. So I'm just curious, like, so what they're talking about is like emails coming from a customer and having this co-pilot agent recognize that email and generate a proposed response to that customer, where I think you can review it and then just say, yeah, that looks good, send it. Is that, so I mean, is that
That has
like
a
tool?
Yeah, that definitely has a use because if in a case like that where a customer is looking to interact with a computer online, if they're going online and they're filling out a form to submit, a request for a quote or place an order, they've already engaged with wanting to deal with a computer, not a human being. But when you're sending me an email, you're sending it to a human being, or you're making a phone call. So I think there's the differences. I don't mind having an automated response or a computerized response coming out of something that you've already engaged with.
Right.
But when you're sending me something, you should hear
You
from
don't
me.
want, you don't want a computer or an AI.
Now, when it comes to the angry email, I think it's also good maybe run that one through, you kind of had enough of somebody for the day. Maybe run that one through Copilot just to kind of soften it up a little bit.
Tell Copilot not to send for another 5 hours. Let me calm down a little bit.
There's a good use for it there. But
So personally then, you see AI as a benefit for mankind, or do you see a scenario where it could be destructive to mankind?
I think it's like anything else any technology that we've had. I mean,
Oh, so you're saying if the government controls it, it's over.
exactly. No, I think it's like anything else though. I mean, what hasn't been the ruination of society? I mean, the automobile was going to be, the car was, I'm sorry, the computer was going to be,
farm machines.
The internet was going to be. So, I mean, at some point in time, it's what you do with technology. And I think the beautiful thing about it is as a society, we get more intelligent in a lot of cases, and we advance past the technology that's around us.
Yeah.
So I think that
I think that's the big scare with this though, right? Are we going to advance past this?
well, I mean, if you look at it like this, I mean, can you imagine if George Washington saw an iPhone?
Yeah.
I mean, those were brilliant people for their day, but as time went on, they got more and more intelligent. So, I mean, we always look at the movies and you get scared because they're basing it off of people of today's intelligence with tomorrow's technology.
Right.
No, we're going to keep advancing with our technology like we always have.
Well, and what happens is you have, invention on top of invention on top of invention, right? So new technology on top, you couldn't even have, like George Washington, to your point, he could never even fathom how you could send a picture. He didn't know what a digital picture was.
Yeah.
So how could he know that you could send a digital picture to someone 1,000 miles away instantly when a digital picture wasn't even a thing that existed, right? So I think, and maybe that's like, right, like what makes people, so uncertain about it is like, we don't even know what it might come of this. And then on top of that, what might be built on top of that,
right. I mean, but to that point, I mean, this is witchcraft to them. I mean, I'm holding up as I hold up my iPhone. I mean, think about the technology, and if you were to show that to somebody from that era, I mean, like I said, brilliant people, but it's just beyond their knowledge. And so when we look at AI and things like that, it's just such it's its infantile stages that you have to look at it and go, okay, what can it be? Well, whatever we grow it to be, but we're going to grow with it. I actually have faith in humanity enough to grow with it. Not all of humanity.
You can have faith that humanity will grow with it.
Well, I have faith that I agree with what you said, is that it's like any other tool or technology or advancements that have been made. And there will be the vast majority of people who are going to use it for good and for positive, to become more efficient, to whatever. And there will be those who figure out a way to use it not for good. Right. And how do you
that's a shame.
How can you police it, right? Without cutting off research and development, right? And kind of, I think the cat's out of the bag, kind of, right? I think
it is.
So now it's keeping it under control, I guess, and governance, I guess, is the word.
For sure.
And that's
It
the
has to
hardest
be.
part.
Yeah.
I mean, the unfortunate thing is here, we talk about things and a big part of my job is, securing our data. And, when I think of cybersecurity, I mean, AI has wonderful pros and then just as scary cons. I mean, we can use it to automate responses and, countermeasures, but at the same time, bad actors are going to use it to get past those responses and countermeasures. So you have these two competing
Yeah.
AI generated tools going back at each other. So to Ken's point, there's your yin and yang, your light and dark. I mean,
Yeah.
how can you use it for good or bad?
And hopefully good wins out.
Exactly.
I just hope going forward. I mean, I've started to notice it a lot right now with Copilot for finance, sales Copilot agents, this, that. I just don't want them to overflood the system and confuse everybody on what it is, especially like Microsoft. I wish Microsoft would just say it's Copilot, pay your subscription, you get access to everything.
Mhm.
Right? Are you familiar? I don't know if you're familiar with the Copilot for finance.
No, I'm not.
Right. You know what I mean? So there's always something else. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like Copilot for finance integrates with Excel to help you do, but it's just, I don't know.
Well, the pace of innovation
Mhm.
is, it's fast and it's accelerating,
Mhm.
Right.
right? So I think what I'm seeing is that it's people are having a hard time staying current and keeping up. If you think about it, like this is what we do, you and I, Michael, every day. And still it feels like it's a continuous effort
No, absolutely.
to
Right.
stay current on what's new and what's coming out next. But I can't imagine someone who's in Jim's shoes, who's who's
Yeah,
having to like do his job, right? And also as like a on the side, like try to stay current. Not just with even Microsoft's AI technologies, but even within the other products that they
Yeah.
use internally and other solutions and technologies, or even in their own products, right? Are you guys, I mean, are you seeing anything yet on like your actual products that you're delivering, like package machinery and
Nothing with
um,
AI yet. But I mean, is it something that could be in our future? Of course.
yeah,
Especially with like, machine responses and, how it could
Mhm.
potentially,
sensing
yeah,
certain things and
Yeah.
that's definitely something that we're going to have to do in the future, but is it on our roadmap right now? I mean, I wouldn't say so because I think, like I said, right now AI is in such an early stage. I mean, it's at such an early stage. It's hard to really pin down, and that's the other thing is I think it's really hard for people to wrap their brain around what AI is because of just what you mentioned. There's something new coming out every day. So how do you really pin down what it is when it's almost like there's product overload with it?
Right.
I mean, how many different versions of or flavors of Microsoft Copilot are there? Last I had checked, there was 13. There's probably
Right.
more since the last time I've looked.
Exactly.
So I mean, that's very hard for the average end user when you're saying it's AI. Great, what is that? And
Exactly.
and you have a lot of C-level executives saying, "Hey, we need to integrate AI into what we're doing." What does that mean?
Right.
Now we have to define what that is, and there's got to be an AI initiative. And I'm actually very lucky that our senior level team, our CEO takes AI very seriously, but in the respect of we have an AI initiative and he consults me a lot of, okay, these are the things we want to do and how can we utilize AI to achieve those? So there's at least a very helpful
Yeah.
way of doing it is saying, okay, we're looking to do access this type of data, or we're looking to do this, this, and this. So how can AI assist us in doing that? And I think that's a good plan. But I have counterparts in the industry that are like, we have to implement AI. I go, what does that mean? And they're like, I don't know. My boss just told me I have to implement AI. Have fun with that.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Do you so we were chatting earlier about the IoT, Internet of Things, and it's kind of died down in how popular it was and whatever. Do you think AI will also follow that same path? Or do you think AI is just going to be here to stay and kind of,
I think it'll be here to stay. I think, unlike, I think what happened was with IoT, it just became a good buzzword, and everybody was just throwing it at anything. And no one even really knew what it meant at certain points in
exactly
time.
right.
But AI, the one thing I do find a little I shouldn't say troubling, but annoying with AI right now is that people are misapplying the term.
Oh, so if it's machine learning, you're saying they're saying it's
So we're using AI for everything because it's a good buzz, and
yeah.
It's AI capable, or it has AI functionality, or that. Okay,
AI forecasting.
yeah,
Like, no, it's an algorithm.
it's the same thing it had last week. It's not AI. It's just you're applying that term to it. So that's the one thing I do find a little annoying at times is that we're misapplying the word AI, and then companies are trying to sell something with that, and it's like, okay, it's really not AI.
Yeah,
But
that's buzzwords though.
Well, I mean, companies are changing like their names and websites and branding their products with AI in it, right?
Yeah.
So, well,
Crazy.
let's turn the page a little bit here to Business Central and Copilot AI features. So I know you're currently running Business Central on premise with plans in the next 12 to 24 months to move to BC Online due to some other reasons and everything. So what I thought we'd do is kind of do like a little bracket, like a little tournament here. So I'm going to give you two features.
Oh, like a this or that?
Yeah, two features that exist in Business Central, AI related.
Okay.
And you can tell me which one you think is
Yeah.
more beneficial.
This or that.
Better feature. Okay. So the first one that we're going to start with is Copilot chat in Business Central. So over on the help, when you hit help, you can type in what something you're looking for, and Copilot goes out there and puts together an answer to help the users understand what they're looking at.
Okay.
So help
in natural language.
In natural language, yeah. So AI Copilot help inside of Business Central. The second one is automatically creating marketing text for your items. So from the item record, you hit a button and it'll look at your item and item number, descriptions and attributes and some other fields and build a nicely worded long product description flowing about your items. So
in my case, I would like the marketing text. And
really?
Here's why.
Interesting.
So, and I think of my end users, and my end users are usually going out to the internet and they're looking it up. But what they're looking for is what are other people running into? Because the Microsoft answer or just any system's answer is in their perfect environment. Now, when you start to go out to the internet, you're starting to look at, okay, well, what are other people running into? Right. And then you start finding more use cases that are more relevant to you. Yeah. So, I mean, a lot of my users will Google that type of stuff and find the answers that they want. So I don't know that I'm going to shift them away from that as easily, or it's going to be as concise as
makes sense.
That is. Okay. Now that marketing text, that's, we create several hundred items per month for our so our engineering team is constantly creating new parts and things like that. So, I mean, when we're looking at, things that we're going to take to market or things that we're going to, rebrand, having a tool like that might be a little more beneficial for us.
Let's write down game changer for that for Jim.
All right. Marketing text over, I'll call it help.
Yeah.
All right. The next matchup here is a new feature on sales orders called suggest line items. So what you can do is take like the contents of the body of an email or some text or general description of what customer wants to order, hit a button and it will attempt to auto build your sales order lines for you. Or automating workflows. So utilizing Power Automate inside of Business Central, there's now Copilot tools where you can say, like in natural language, build me an automation to do this when this happens. And it will create the Power Automate workflow for the user.
For us, the sales order would be better.
Suggest sales lines.
Yeah. I think just the amount of time that our people spend entering sales order lines where they could just have it automatically populate for them would be more beneficial. I mean, we do have, I mean, there's automations that are already in BC that we use some, we don't use others. I don't know that it would have as big of an impact for us as that feature would, as the sales automatically populating sales order lines.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Next matchup. AI powered cash flow analysis for cash flow anticipation, or late payment prediction. So looking at outstanding sales orders and sales invoices for your customers' accounts and flagging the ones that it identifies as having the greatest potential for being paid late.
For us, I would say the AI powered cash flow. Depending on how I mean, I would like to see that it, if it's looking at market trends, like how are our sales going, how are our inventory looking, how is all that starting to, like, doing those analytics to say, hey, based off of budgets and things like that, then saying, okay, this is what you're going to be cash flowing like. I think that's going to be very beneficial for us and probably save our finance department a lot of time. The late payment prediction, once again, we're a family company, so I mean, we have a lot of personal relationships with our customers. So I mean, we're already talking to them in a lot of cases. So I mean, I think if they're having trouble or things like that, we're already aware and trying to work with them on things. But I think something that said like, hey, maybe slow down on this a little bit, or I think that might be kind of a good feature with the AI powered cash flow.
Okay. All right. Cash flow. Duly noted. All right. Next matchup. Bank reconciliation automatic matching using AI. So matching your bank transactions from your bank to Business Central bank ledgers versus inventory forecasting.
Ooh.
So obviously using AI uses past sales data to forecast future demand to help prevent stockouts.
Okay, so this one's kind of personal to me. So being that I'm in charge of planning and procurement, this is one that I'm going to say that inventory forecasting. We sort of do, I shouldn't say we sort of do that now. We're using fixed order quantity in BC now, which we find to be a very valuable tool, which you guys did help write some customized code for us to figure that out. So I think having something where it's automating that process and using AI to keep those levels adjusted for us in fixed order quantity, I think that would be a huge win for us, which then goes back to my AI powered cash flow.
Yeah.
Yep.
Interesting.
Okay. And now the final matchup. So we have AP invoice, called e-invoice matching.
Okay.
So AP matching, where you get an invoice comes in and it identifies and auto creates your purchase invoices, kind of to automate the payables process, versus analysis tools. And this one's a little bit, so what this is you're on a list page in Business Central, and you can click an analysis button on the top and then type in what you want to see. Like, I want to see all of my customers' past due balances grouped by salesperson. Go. And it auto builds a pivot table inside of Business Central to analyze. So basically from any list page,
right,
a user can effectively pivot their data to do data analysis.
That's a good one. For us, though, I think the automated payables would be good because I think that would free up a lot of our finance department's time and just give those users back the ability to do other things like create reports.
Yeah.
So
very good. So here's the good news. So we went through right there 10 Copilot features that are in Business Central, come with it, BC Online, right? So that's the bad news. Bad news, right? Not for on-premise.
Yeah.
Right. These are for online.
Are you going to do a round two?
but this
between the
is,
5 winning ones.
oh, you
He
wanna,
chooses over.
what, oh, narrow it
got it.
down? You
Yeah.
got like a bracket, like
Yeah,
a champion
yeah.
here? All right, well, we'll have to, how do we do this?
All right, so Jim,
We'll have to have,
you gotta pull one out. Let's pull inventory forecasting out.
I don't get to get that one.
because,
that's the one that you
yeah.
like the most.
Okay.
Because it's gonna win.
Yeah, exactly.
That was gonna say, was,
So we know that, yeah, inventory forecasting would be number one. So, okay,
Right.
so we'll get that one out. Okay, so then the first semifinal will be between marketing text for items versus suggested sales lines.
suggested sales lines.
Suggested sales lines
Oh, wow.
advances. All right, and then the next semifinal is cash flow analysis versus AP invoice matching.
AP invoice matching.
AP invoice matching, and then the
Between-
champion,
I
well,
would do between suggested sales lines and AP invoice matching.
Yeah.
What do you get? Which one would you prefer?
Hmm,
And that's gonna go up against.
yeah. Inventory forecasting still winning. But, honestly, I think the sales forecasting lines.
Sales forecasting lines?
Yeah, I think that would always be our.
suggested sales lines. Yeah, that is a pretty cool thing, and
But not
Yeah.
as cool as.
but not as cool as inventory.
As inventory forecasting.
Is the
I
champion.
gotta have it to sell.
Yeah.
And again, like, we talk about this on the podcast often, but like, what's great is that at least currently,
Mhm.
right? All we know is where we're currently sitting. Microsoft is including all of these Copilot features inside Business Central without
For free.
needing to add an additional Copilot SKU
Right.
like you have to do for other products, right? So it is part of the Business Central full user SKU.
Right now, right? We don't know if I think they reserve the right to change it.
Yeah, I think they legally have to say that at some point this may not be the
Right.
case.
Depending on,
But-
Q4 numbers next year or something.
But I have not heard anything
No, not at all.
that says that they have any plans to introduce a Business Central Copilot SKU. Again, not to say that they won't, maybe at some point, but there's no current plan that I've heard of, at least, to do that.
So would you say you're excited, well, as excited as you can be for AI and Business Central, for Triangle and everything? You think it's going to be beneficial in helping everybody? be
Oh,
more
yeah, I think it's
productive?
gonna be a huge win for us. I think we have a lot of valuable team members that we can free up a lot of busy work from them. And I think that's the biggest thing is as a company, we wanna utilize our resources the best way we possibly can with taking busy work off of their plate, giving them the ability to then grow into other areas of the business, take on new tasks. And that's really what a lot of these AI tools can do is to take that busy work away from some of our people. And I think
Yeah.
that's a huge part of what we would want it to do.
Yeah.
So I think, no, I'm very excited for it. I think that's, and when you present it that way, I think that's also a very important part to get user adaptation down with it is not so much, I think what people present it as that this is going to replace people or that it's going to take away their jobs. We're taking away work from you that is busy work. Then this is I think you have to show them that we're giving you the opportunity to grow and you're going to take on this work when we
Yeah.
remove this from you. And I
The
think,
true progression of your job role.
yeah, and I think that's really, as a company, that's what we strive to do is to grow our employees. Thankfully, we have very long retention with our employees because we do that. And this is a tool that's going to enable us to do that that much better.
Yeah.
So I'm very excited for it. And our users so far have been very excited for it.
How long's Triangle been around for now?
101 years.
101. So
Yeah.
last year was 100. Wow.
I haven't been there the whole time though.
Can't sell.
So I gotta ask you, so, it here, obviously, we have worldwide listeners. So maybe there's some listeners that weren't aware, but there was a presidential election here in the United States about a month ago, right? So, have you seen anything in terms of, right? Obviously, manufacturing companies in the United States, right? There's stories about potential tariffs or this or that, or new policies or tax changes that might impact businesses. Have you guys seen anything, or?
It's something that's on our radar. We're looking at it, especially with, some of the computer components that we buy for our machines. It is something that we are concerned with. As I mentioned to you prior to the podcast, it's something I'd love to see in BC where you could put something in to track that. Because we're hoping that if there are tariffs, they're temporary, but it's something that if they do come along, we're going to have to potentially look at passing it along. But we want to make that very clear that this is, why the price has gone up and that this is a tariff or something like that. But that is a concern of ours because it's unfortunately when you're selling something, and you have another tax onto it, it's viewed upon as that you're selling it for more money. It's like, well, no, I'm selling it for the same. There's this new tax on there I have to contend with.
Yeah, that's why you got to show the tariff amount. Yeah.
So that is a concern of ours, and that is something that we're seeing, but we're keeping a close eye on, just to try and figure out how we're going to deal with it.
Is it going to heavily impact? Do you think heavily impact Triangle if there's, let's say, a 10% tariff?
Not ridiculously, but there's, certain components that we buy that are going to go up. So, the machine, it's built in the United States.
Right.
But there's certain things that the United States just doesn't make. There's certain motors or servos or things like that we don't manufacture in the United States. I don't have an alternate supplier for, so it's like I could buy it from anybody else. So, that does, it does, I shouldn't say scare, but it is a concern to look at, when it comes to that kind of stuff.
Yep. Just one more thing to think about.
Yeah.
On a regular basis, huh?
There's not enough in the world.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Change is it's the only constant.
Yes.
Along with death and taxes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well,
we'll see. Maybe with AI,
just take
you're gonna live forever, aren't you?
Oh yeah, they're gonna download my consciousness into a computer and I'll be around forever.
Oh, so we have that to look
Yeah,
forward to. Oh, this is the best day ever.
Johnny Depp made that movie, Transparent or whatever, where they downloaded his consciousness into a computer.
But you're actually bringing up a very good point. That's something that we're actually trying to use AI for. So we have one of our old legacy systems that the original system that we came off of when we went to Business Central. So it's an old green screen system that only certain employees know how to get into. Now, one of the things that we're in the process of doing is building out a Copilot app that can retrieve that data because that data isn't as structured as our current data is. So to your point now, it's not so much taking, Michael and turning him into an AI thing, but we're taking that knowledge that, these two individuals or, a handful of individuals at my company that know how to retrieve this data very quickly and easily. And what we're doing is we're using Copilot to develop an app that can retrieve it just as quickly as they can from that data. So there is some very good applications for it like that, where there is a business use. So these gentlemen plan on retiring at some point in time. There are other people in the company that can do this, but maybe not with the same ease as these people can. Using Copilot now, it's no longer just a select few people that can do it. It's anybody needs access to it. Go type it into Copilot, and it's going to retrieve that data.
Oh, so you're not using Copilot just to get code to build an app. You're actually using like Copilot Studio to build a Copilot app.
Yes.
Oh, pretty cool.
Interesting. So I'm going to guess that
Pretty cool.
Right now there's people listening to this and they're going, wow, it sounds like there's all these potential uses of AI out there. And it sounds like this company is really leveraging it pretty well at this point. Who's spearheading this? Is this yourself? Is there a person who is helping everyone do this and incorporate things, or from a resourcing standpoint?
So from a resourcing standpoint, it's always going to come from the MIS department. So, but really we can't get anything done unless there's senior support. And that's really the thing that makes us effective at what we do, is that we present it to our CEO, Brian, and our CFO, Tim, and we really just present the case to them. Okay, this is what we need as a company. What do you think? and then they get us the appropriate support, resources, funding. That's always important.
Yeah.
But really, that's always what will drive a project forward is when you have that top level support.
Yeah.
I am very lucky in that respect that I have that. Because really, I can't get much done without that. And I think, just even with the projects that I've done with you guys in the past, I mean, they go so much smoother when you have that executive sponsorship. So, I get lucky because of the fact, like I said, Brian doesn't come in and go, we need to put in AI. He doesn't say things like that to me. He'll say, okay, how can we use AI, Jim, to make us better? Or he'll hear of a problem and he'll ask, is there anything with AI that can help us with that? Yes. Okay. Now it turns into a project or an initiative. So that's very helpful. And I think that's what will always drive it forward is when you get that senior sponsorship, but it's directed sponsorship, not, like I said, not put in AI. It's here's a problem. How can AI help us with this? Okay, let's make it happen.
Gotcha.
Right.
Makes sense.
Yeah, it almost becomes like another tool in everyone's tool belt, like, right, almost across the organization, creating that mindset, like, hey, is there a way that we could optimize this?
Exactly.
And maybe before it was using Excel or using Teams or whatever, but now it's just using AI.
What they're doing.
Yeah. It's kind of funny because, before when you would have to look up something, well, what everybody say, Google it. And now you're running into a problem. Can AI help us? And I think that's what it's sort of turning into is that AI is turning into almost like the Google of something. It's when you hit that problem, it's like, oh, you need an answer? Google it. Well, you have a problem. How do we get around it? Can AI help us? And I think that's where I really want to see AI go to is, can it become that type of a tool?
I think so. I know that ChatGPT recently implemented web search to actually finally something actually compete with Google. So
yeah, I think Google's a little nervous.
They should be. Amazon should be nervous too, but that's a whole other topic of discussion we can talk about after the podcast. Yeah, that's interesting. I didn't realize you guys were that much involved in AI already. Would you say that's kind of the norm in your industry? Or you guys, it sounds to me like you guys are almost like trendsetters. Like you're thinking outside the box and you're, in my opinion, you're pretty far ahead of the curve. I don't know what you think. You deal with more customers than I do.
Yeah, and like I would say manufacturing organizations, especially ones that are over 100 years old, right? But maybe the fact that they're still here after 100 years is a testament to that
forward thinking.
The ability to adapt to new technologies and leverage that better than the competition.
And I think, that's to your point, and I think it's very spot on, is that as a company, we've made it 100 years because we try to be innovative. We don't want to be bleeding edge, but definitely cutting edge. And I think, in our machine and a lot of the things that we do, we try to stay current and keep evolving. And I think where I get lucky is that mindset is in the ownership. That the Muscat family definitely believes in that innovation. And so when it comes to whether it's the technology that's going into the machines that we manufacture or in the systems that support this company that manufactures these machines, how can we do this? And I think that's the ultimate goal is how do you keep the system, I should say the system, how do you keep supporting that ability to make these machines and to keep being innovative? Well, you have to have infrastructure to do that. So part of that infrastructure is my department and our systems and what tools we can leverage for that. So, it's, to Ken's point, AI is another tool in our tool belt. And, when you have that, it's okay. Do you have the team that can do it? We brought on someone that we've contracted out with, but the rest of my team in the MIS department is very responsive, and they want to embrace this as well. And we have really good users. I've always said in all these podcasts that I have a great user community. They take a lot of ownership over the systems. One of the biggest things we do is we talk to them a lot. As a technology department, you have to have good interaction with your end users, because if it's an us versus them, they hate you. And the systems break, things go wrong. And if you don't have that good relationship and that good back and forth with them and realize that you're there to service them, you're there to help them do their job. and the technology needs to help them do their job. So, once you sort of realize that, my customer is the end user. So when you go into that, and you don't want to say the customer is always right, but you do have to treat the customer with a level of respect and courtesy, like any customer would expect. So that's a big part of what my department does. So when we approach our users, we're not saying you're going to use this or that this is something we're forcing down your throat. We're going to them with, a more humble approach and a more collaborative approach of, hey, this might help you. What do you think? And as a customer, or as the provider, we're selling them on it, not telling them about it. And I think that's a big thing, is that make them buy into it, and it's not that you're selling them on something bad. I mean, you're selling them on something that's going to help them, because at the end of the day, if they're successful, the company makes money and then it funds my projects.
Right.
So
absolutely.
it's very, it's very cyclical. I mean, if you do all this stuff, it will come back to you. So I think it's good that I have a good user community that will help us with that stuff. And then, like I said, when you're getting the top-down support, the end users are saying, okay, well, this is an initiative from the company, so we're going to, get on board with this. So I think it's just, when it's a consistent message like that, it makes things so much easier. And then it allows me to stay fast-paced and do things. I mean, we've, I think, done a pretty good job, even like with Business Central and some of the technologies that we've put in.
Yeah.
We've been pretty regular about doing our updates. We did our initial install in under a year. I mean, I think that's due to good users, but it's also good, because as a company, we set a goal and we get full support. So that makes my job easier.
Yeah.
Not easy, but easier.
Yeah. Always easy to kind of just try to stay current as opposed to playing catch up with technology.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, Jim, time flies. Feels like we just started talking, but it is nearing time to wrap up. We thank you as always for coming out and sharing your insights. I think there was a lot of really good insights that you gave for other end users who might be listening, in terms of maybe things that they can think about, at least get the thoughts flowing about how they can better incorporate AI. We do have one more piece of business that we have to take care of, and that is we need to rate the beer.
Before we get into that, though, can I just have Jim plug Triangle? Let everybody know what it is you guys do and whatnot.
Oh, sure. So Triangle Package Machinery, we've been in business for the last 101 years. We make packaging machines primarily for the food service industry, but check out our website at trianglepackage.com to see our full line of products. Feel free to reach out to us at any time if we can help you.
All right. Package Machinery, Triangle's the place to go.
Yep.
All right. Beer time. Beer rating time.
Yeah.
All right. Ken, you can go first.
You want me to go first?
Or maybe I should go first, so we don't have to take it down too far right off the get-go.
Or do you want to start? Do you want to start low and go up, or do you want
to? I'll go first. Let me just take one more sip real quickly. Okay. So I don't notice. It doesn't appear to me that right off I don't get a high alcohol taste, like it's 8%, you know what I mean? It blends really well. I actually think it tastes better now as I'm getting to the bottom of the bottle than it did when I first tried it. That being said, I'm not the biggest fan of it. It's not something that I'm going to run out and buy. I'm going to go on a score of between 0 and 100. So 50 is, if it's below 50, you can't have more than one. You can't, you know what I mean? You can't wait. Right. 50 and above, you could have another. I'm going to go, ooh, this is tough, man. I'm going to go 61. 61.
61. All right. In a similar vein, I also, it's not in my wheelhouse.
Right.
I mean, I always enjoy trying new beers. Yeah, like, no matter what it is, I want one.
Right.
Let me see what this has to offer. Not in my wheelhouse though. I did not crack a second one here during our discussion. I was though very enthralled in the conversation. So that is a caveat there. I was more focused on the conversation than usual,
Yes,
maybe.
yeah.
But I'm gonna go 47. And below the 50 threshold, I'm not gonna grab another.
Yeah. Makes sense. I could grab another one. Not saying it'd be the best, but all right, Jim. You're either gonna go Ken's side or my side.
Ooh.
They're both kind of low, I guess.
So I'm going to agree with both of you. And so to your point, it actually got better as it got lower down. And I think as it got warmer, it actually got a little more tasty. It was less bitter as it got more room temperature.
Yeah.
That said, though, I would rate this in like the 45 area.
It's not that good.
It's not.
To be honest.
It's not terrible. I mean, I wouldn't be embarrassed to serve it, but I would never say like, "Ooh, I have to go out and grab one of those."
Yeah, if somebody gave it to you, you would drink it. It's
Yeah.
not something you're going to take a sip and be like, "Oh God, no." But
Yeah, it would save me from dehydration. I mean, that's about it.
Yeah. And we didn't, on previous episodes, we didn't rank the wine that we drank one episode or the eggnog cocktails.
No.
We didn't rate those, but we did. We go in the Wayback Machine. Jim, you had an 85 for Arrogant Bastard.
Oh, that's right. You probably
Remember
Arrogant
that?
Bastard.
Yes, I did.
Yeah. So that was a
That
while
was the
back.
first podcast.
Yeah.
So, and that one, actually, maybe I shouldn't share my score with you. I
Wait. Which score is this though? The first score?
So my original score was also an 85.
Oh wow.
No, but Ken went back and redid his scores. Huge
But
fluctuation.
what happened was after about 3 years,
Yeah.
what I realized, I rated everything between like a 92 and an 81.
Got it.
And I'm like, this is garbage. This doesn't work. So I did a re-ranking.
Okay.
And I re-ranked the Arrogant Bastard Ale at a 44. So it's similar to this. I think it was. I think. I think it did taste similar to this, right? Would you agree? The Arrogant Bastard Ale.
Like
Do you
6
remember
years. I
that?
can't remember that.
See, it's ingrained in my brain. I remember.
You got the rating? What did I rate it?
So
80?
65.
65?
65.
Okay.
Considering I haven't had another one in the 6 years, I'm going to say that it's probably goes back
Probably
to the
went-
45 rating of.
probably went pretty high.
I haven't had one since then, so
Yeah. So yeah, no, I had to re-rank. I realized I had a 100-point spectrum, but all my beers were like within this 10-point range, and
Got it.
that wasn't helping anyone, was it? I'm doing this for everyone. This is it's not for me. This is like a public service. I'm doing it for the people.
Yeah. We should do like an episode or like take like 5 months where we revisit past beers and re-rank them just to see what we think what we'd give them.
if your palate's changed. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what? You're right. We have episode 68, and we've got about 68 beers on the list. So we have managed
Never.
to not recycle any beers, but maybe we
Like we explore like the top.
like a Throwback Thursday special
right.
podcast. Go back and drink an Angry Orchard
Well,
hard
the
cider.
first one we did was Zombie Dust, right?
Zombie Dust, yeah.
And I haven't had one since. Have you? You probably.
Ah.
Yeah, he's like,
Yeah, one a week
All right,
on
so-
average.
So its ranking is still.
So he's
where it
right.
was.
Yeah, he's still good. Yeah, 92 or whatever it was. Yeah,
Yeah, I think a good revisit would be fun.
yeah. We should do Arrogant Bastard Ale.
There
Bring
you
Jim
go.
Back on.
Yeah, well,
See if the palates change.
next year.
There you
All
go.
right. Awesome. All right. Well, like Ken said, thanks for being on the podcast.
Well, thanks for having me. I
Been
wouldn't be
fun.
Christmas without you guys.
Absolutely. Merry Christmas. And Ken gets to take us home. I don't know if you've seen this.
And Happy New Year, everyone. Bye.
As we end today's podcast, we want to give a big thank you to everyone who listens, shares this podcast, and leaves us reviews. You've taken a good amount of your time out of your day, and we truly appreciate it. Thanks again. And don't be afraid to email us at marketing@solsyst.com with your tips for the podcast, or maybe you'd even like to be a guest during an episode.